Hi, Stefan Swartling here from Swartling Network. It's kinda scary to go here in the basement when I'm on my way to the parking garage where I have my car. It's 7:30 a.m. The rumor says that Google will unveil the Nexus 6 and Nexus 9 today, one day before Apple's event where they will show us the iPad Air 2. So it's obvious that Google will have this release of the Nexus devices before Apple presents the new iPad Air. Only because they are a bit afraid and want to steal some potential buyers of the new iPad Air 2. Personally, I'm very excited to see what Apple will present on the event tomorrow. It will be very interesting to see how the iPad Air 2 will be, if it has some new features or new design or something. This morning though I realized that the tagline "it's been way too long" could mean that Apple will present some kind of new way to watch television. Maybe their way to revolutionize the TV experience or something. Because the TV experience has looked the same for many years, since the beginning of TV really. So that's why it's been way too long to someone to change the TV experience. Who knows? It's very windy today. So it's time for some breakfast with coffee and a sandwich. Okay. After publishing my last day vlog, I got this comment. Is this funny or is it only stupid? I don't know, but check this out. Hi, Stefan Swartling, I don't like this post. Would you mind removing it? And that is on my Google Plus page, my Google Plus profile. I posted this video with my description text and link to the video. So this comment is on that post on my Google Plus profile. I don't know if I should laugh or cry, really. I think this is kinda stupid. I mean, I don't know why I should remove it really, because I don't say anything bad in the video. It's just a normal vlog during my day, so why should I remove it? I don't know. And I didn't get any answer to my question when I replied and asked why I should remove it. I didn't get any reply to that. I must say that the battery life in my new iPhone 6 is awesome. As you can see here, it had 7 hours of usage time and 12 hours of standby time, and this is real usage time. I have used the phone a lot this day. I'm fiddling around and I used some video editing and recording videos and so on. So this is real usage time. I use the phone a lot this day. So I must say that battery life on the iPhone 6 is even better than the iPhone 5S, and as I have proved before in another video, the iPhone 5S has an excellent battery life now with the iOS 8 operating system. So this is even better. It's the best battery life on any of my phones. It beats LG G2, Sony Xperia Z1 and Samsung Galaxy S3 of course. And personally, I think the reason why battery life differs from different kinds of iPhone 6 users is depending on where you live and which season it is. For example, here in Sweden, where I live, it's now fall, it's autumn, so it's very dark outside, so the auto brightness in the settings on the iPhone 6 doesn't need to have such a bright display this season where I live. So the battery life gets a lot better because the brightness is lower. And the other way around, if you live in California or in Spain or something where the sun is bright and you have very much light outside, then the brightness goes up to the top and almost 100% of brightness. and then the battery life gets worse on the iPhone 6, of course. And I really recommend to have the auto brightness features on. It's completely automatically, so you won't notice when it's working. For example, when it's turns the brightness down or up, you won't notice that. And it's a very nifty and effective feature. This is awesome. One of my favorite apps for iOS, Drafts, has been released in a new version called Drafts 4. And the only disappointment is that you need to buy it again. As you can see, even if you have the latest Drafts 3, you need to buy the Drafts 4 again. But this is an awesome app, so I highly recommend it. With Drafts you can do a lot of cool and advanced stuff. It supports URL schemes, action scripts and so on, so you can write and share to any app in the format you want. For example, you can get your URL titles and description text from a website directly into Drafts, and from Drafts you can send it to, for example, Evernote or Dropbox or anywhere you want, really. So Drafts is very useful for a lot of cool stuff, and it's 38 Swedish crowns. I don't know what that will be in dollar, but probably $4 or something. So here you can see, for example, some of the actions, share actions you can add to Drafts. These you can do exactly as you want them. You can do these for yourself, or you can add them from Drafts action script directory on the web, where a lot of users shares these actions between each other. So this is a very advanced app that you can use to many different things. And the new Drafts 4 supports iCloud syncing, so you don't have to bother with Drafts' own syncing anymore. So you can have the same actions, scripts, JavaScripts, and all that, and all your notes in all your devices. And now also Drafts supports themes and font options, and of course it supports Markdown, so you can write in your Markdown language all your notes, blog posts and so on. And Drafts 4 now supports iOS 8 fully, so you can have extensions, share sheets and so on in all apps that supports iOS 8. So for example, directly in Safari web browser you can share directly to any service via Drafts, or you can add content from an app directly into Drafts and so on. And the new actions features you can see here. And the cool thing is that it's very easy to export all your action scripts and all the notes you have in Drafts 3 to the new Drafts 4 when you have bought it and installed it on your iPad, because the latest Drafts 3 version you have already installed supports the export option, and when you support export option you can choose to open in, and in the open in menu you can choose the new Drafts 4, and it immediately gets imported into the Drafts 4 with the new support for JavaScripts and the new URL schemes and so on. So it's very easy to migrate from the older Drafts 3 to the new Drafts 4. One thing that annoys me a lot is that Google doesn't support or follow the Apple UI guidelines when they are doing their iOS apps. So because of that, Google Apps is always a lot harder to navigate and use than other iOS apps. So for example, if I open a link in the Google Plus app, I click on the link and it opens in the built-in web browser, and even that I don't like because I want it to open directly in Safari instead. But Now the article is opened in the internal web browser in Google+. As you can see up here now, the only thing I can do from here is to click on that little share button, and this window opens. The only things I can do is open it in Safari or cancel. Why doesn't Google follow the UI guidelines for iOS 8 so we can have the share sheet menu there instead, so I can share this to any service that I have activated as an extension? Why, Google, why? Another example is, for example, that you can't select text in Google Apps on iOS. So I can't copy this text to my note-taking app, for example, or something. I can't copy it for an email or something. It's impossible to copy text in Google's iOS apps. Very, very strange. And also, why is the close or back button at the top on the devices? For example, the new iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus, why is the back button at the top, Google? I mean, if you want to use the device with one hand, the iPhone 6 Plus is huge, you can't reach to that button. Why don't follow Apple's guidelines so the button is at the bottom, or you can use gestures to go back? That's the point with iOS, especially iOS 8. The last thing I would like to show you today about the lack of iOS support in Google's apps is extension support. For example, if you are in Safari and have a web page open, an article open or something, and want to share it to, for example, Google+, then you usually click on the share button like that, and you get the share menu open. And in iOS 8 you can now add support to any service you want to share to that supports iOS 8. And the services I have activated, you can see here. If you click on the more button, you can get to more services that is available to activate. But you don't see Google Plus here. Why, Google? Why doesn't the Google Plus app support extensions in iOS 8? Yes, I know iOS 8 is kind of new, but Google recently updated Google Plus app, but with no extension support. That's really strange. So Google really need to rethink their iOS apps so they support the new iOS 8 and the UI changes and all the new openness that Apple has added to iOS 8. The web browser Puffin for iOS 8 has become one of my most important apps, one of the most used apps. And one of the reasons for that is I can use the web as it's meant to be used. All the web services and so on. It even supports Flash and all that. So that means that I can use the desktop version of the web services and web pages instead of the mobile version that Safari uses on iPad. So I can do stuff that I can't do on my iPhone or iPad with only Safari. I can, for example, use a mouse. By clicking on that icon, I get a trackpad with a mouse pointer. So I can go up here, for example, and edit my Apple community in Google+. This menu is impossible to get on Safari. So in Puffin Web Browser, I can get this desktop menu to do stuff, as you can see. And this is only one example. I can do anything really. I can blog directly in blogger.com on the web. I can manage my comments on YouTube from the real YouTube web desktop version and so on. And I can edit the info and details about my YouTube videos on my YouTube page directly in Puffin Web Browser. I can even upload and change the thumbnails of the videos directly in Puffin Web Browser. That's impossible in Safari, for example, on my iPhone, but I can do this in the Puffin Web Browser. It's awesome, and I can do all the stuff I do on the desktop in Puffin Web Browser. So this web browser makes the iPad more desktop-like thanks to these kind of things I can do with it. So all the stuff I can do in a desktop web browser I can do now on my iPad thanks to Puffin Web Browser Pro. You need a Pro version to get all the nifty features, and Puffin Web Browser is highly recommended by me to buy. It's worth the money. Here you can see Puffin Web Browser in the App Store, and as you can see in these photos, you can use the normal desktop web very easily. You can even play games and so on because it supports Flash, and you can watch movies, TV shows and so on directly in the Puffin Web Browser. So I highly recommend Puffin. So thanks to Puffin Web Browser, the only thing I can't do on the iPhone now that I can on my iPad is video editing as easy as I can on the iPad. iMovie on the iPhone can't show the waveforms of the audio, so you can't cut exactly where you want after a word, for example, as easy as you can on the iPad. But everything else is now solved for me, so I could in reality use an iPhone 6 Plus to do anything a computer can except for video editing. So I still need to have my iPad because I need to do my video editing still. So otherwise I could rather have bought an iPhone 6 Plus and had that as a computer. But now I have the iPad Air and the iPhone 6 as my computers. There is a lot to video edit this evening. This day vlog is the longest yet, over 16 minutes long, so it will be a lot to video edit. And it will be quite hard to do that because my iPad Air only has 16 GB of storage, so when I airdrop this video into my iPad from my iPhone 6, then it will be very hard to video edit this huge project. But I will do my best. Okay, this is the end of today's day vlog. Bye.